Today I'm going to show you how to create a pinch pot tea bowl. You will need a small amount of water and your Sculpt-It clay. To get started with this, we are going to not even open up our Sculpt-It clay yet. We are actually going to just massage this Sculpt-It clay to kind of get it to moving around a little bit while it is inside the package still. Once your clay seems to be pretty well moving around, you can go ahead and open it up. Once your clay is open, you are going to start by forming it into a ball. So I'm just squishing it in my hand. To kind of get that moving around. Then I am going to roll it in my hands to create a ball. You can also roll it on a flat surface like a table or a desk. Mine is starting to crack a little bit, so what I'm going to need to do is add a little bit of water to it. So I am not dipping my clay into my water. I just dip my finger into the water. Then I'm going to get that part a little bit wet and then kind of squish it together. Then I'm going to restart to make my ball. If you have large cracks, you can add a little bit of water by dipping your finger into there and kind of pushing those cracks together. We're going to start off with a sphere or a 3D circle. The very first thing that we are going to do to start our pinch pot, we are going to poke our finger straight down into our clay to create a hole. Notice how mine does not go all the way through my clay. Then I am going to have my finger on the inside and I'm going to pinch out and up. So I'm going to pinch out and up like so. And I'm going to rotate that around at the same time. Now I can see right now that I have a lot of cracks that are happening. And my clay is starting to get a little bit dry. So I'm going to get a finger of water, put a little on the inside, and put a little on the outside. I do not want to get way too much water because then my clay will become really hard to work with. So you just need a little bit. I can see that there is a crack starting to form in my wall, so I'm actually going to push that together and kind of smooth it over. Then I'm going to continue pinching and pulling. Now, I start to have a bowl type shape. One thing I forgot to mention with your tea bowl, we want to make sure that our walls are not way far out. We do not want a pancake tea bowl. If your tea bowl turns into a pancake, you need to add a little bit of water to it and squish that back into a ball. And restart that process. If your clay ever gets dry and crackly, just add a tiny bit of water. Again, we do not need a lot, otherwise it will turn into a big, soupy mess. And you can begin to remake that tea bowl. We want our tea bowls to have an even wall, an even thickness for our walls. The wall is the side of the T-bowl. We want it to be an even thickness all the way through. So for me, I took my T-bowl and I'm kind of pinching my fingers around the rim lightly. I'm not actually pinching. And I'm turning it to see about how thick it is. And mine feels pretty thick and it looks about the same thickness. From the bottom of our T-bowls, we do not want it to be very thin to where it almost pokes through. We want it to be just right. Now I need to look at my sketch that I drew and decide what shape I want the outside to be. Mine was a more standard bowl shape. So I'm going to begin to shape my bowl how it is. The goal is for the entire lip, or the top of the bowl, to be the same height. We unfortunately will not be able to drink out of these, but if we were, we would want the lip to be all the same height, and we wouldn't want to have ridges in it. A way to help you kind of get this the same height is to grab it from the bottom of the bowl and just give it a slight tap onto that lid, the rim. Now, if your bowl is really wet, you will not be able to do this because your bowl might just fall apart. But see how it kind of flattened out that rim for me a little bit? The next thing we're gonna do is start to smooth out our bowl. Once you get your bowl shape, you are going to grab a little bit of water and kind of just rub that on to the clay T-bowl. I am putting my index finger on the inside to kind of give that support, and I can rub it with the other finger. So I'm putting my index finger on the inside and my thumb on the outside, and I'm rubbing that, not terribly hard, but I'm also not being super gentle because I want to get any of those cracks smoothed out. And I want to get all of the bumps gone away. Notice how mine kind of messed up a little bit, and that's okay because I can just smooth it over. So you will spend probably quite a bit of time getting that to where you want it to be. Once it's done, we're going to do that same tapping except for on the bottom. So we want our bowl to be able to sit up by itself. So I'm going to take it from the rim and just kind of tap, tap, tap. Then I'm going to reinforce that rim. So I flipped it over and I'm holding it on the bottom, and I'm going to tap, tap, tap that rim too. While it's upside down, I might smooth out the bottom as well. Once you get a shape to your liking, then you are ready to begin adding your design onto your T-bowl. Now that I have my T-bowl ready, I am ready to start adding a design onto my T-bowl. We will be able to add color once our T-bowl is dry, but now we need to carve into our T-bowl to be able to give it a little bit of texture. So you will be picking out one of your sketches to use as a reference for your T-bowl. Some tools that you might use would be a pencil, maybe a toothpick, or odd things that you have around your house that you don't mind getting messy. My T-bowl includes a lot of circles, so I found a dowel rod that I will be using. We do not want our marks to go all the way through our T-bowl, so I am going to brace the inside of my T-bowl with one finger while I am making my design on the outside. Making sure that we do not push all the way through. That would be not good. You can begin to add your designs to your tea bowl. If your bowl becomes misshaped, you can always kind of form it a little bit. And like I said, make sure you're tapping that rim and slightly tapping that bottom to make sure it can stand on its own. I'm going to use a toothpick to go in for finer details. Once you get your design on your bowl, you will want to make sure that the inside of your bowl is smooth as well. So I'm going to get a little bit of water and smooth out the inside of my bowl. Again, I'm putting a finger on the outside to kind of resist that pressure. That way my bowl does not break. Now, to end your tea bowl, see, mine has quite a few cracks on the outside as well as the rim. I would want to go through and smooth those out as much as possible because once this is dry, we will be adding color to it. So our goal is to get our tea bowl done today, and then we will add color to it tomorrow. So once your tea bowl is at a good stopping point, make sure you have the inside as smooth as you can get it and the outside is smooth. And look at your craftsmanship. If you have little goopies, make sure that you clean those out. We don't want goopies on our tea bowl. So you can clean those out like with a tool, with your fingers. You could add a little bit of water to clean those out. So by the end of class today, you should have your tea bowl made. That way it can sit out to dry for tomorrow.